It's easy to associate Italy with cars. Since the very beginning, the country has created some of the world's most famous models and brands. One of them is Fiat, who invited us to tour 3 cities as part of the launch of their latest model. The reinvention of the 500 was a massive success for Fiat, not only in terms of numbers sold, but in the way it created a whole new sub-brand. The range basically consists of one shape with a whole bunch of variations, but now Fiat have decided to expand the range, literally. We travelled to Milan, Modena and Turin to drive various flavours of the car badged the 500L, which is very simply a big version of Fiat's iconic small city car. The 500L isn't an SUV or a station wagon, it's more like the old Multipla, with styling that will be a lot more universally acceptable. Think of it as the 500 that you can fit the whole family into and you'll get the idea. It's designed for those who want to have that brand of Italian style, just with a little more space. And now you're thinking, see what Fiat's done there, they've copied Mini. BMW reinvented the Mini and then they made bigger Minis. Fiat reinvented the 500 and now they're just making bigger 500s. And that's not strictly true, because this car isn't just about looking good around town. It's about real-world applications and real practicality. Inside, the 500L has been designed to be as flexible as possible, imagining all the combinations a family might need in order to get themselves and their stuff from A to B. In fact, they've imagined more combinations than anyone will ever need, 1,500 in total. It's got everything you'd expect, like good space that expands by folding the rear seats down, but there are 1 or 2 other clever bits as well. The boot floor is split into levels, allowing the separation of fragile items, and the front passenger seat folds completely forward, which creates a load-through space of 2.4 meters. When Fiat released the original 500, they were quite proud of the fact that it was so massively customizable. Wheels, decals, interior options all meant that you could have a 500 that was pretty much unique. With the 500L, it's customization on a bigger scale. In fact, there are so many combinations, Fiat reckon there are over 300 different possibilities. And that's besides the 140 accessories. Even in its most basic form, there's no mistaking this car's heritage, with a front end that is unmistakably 500. At the back, it does resemble a more utilitarian take on the Mini Paceman, but overall it's a well-proportioned MPV that has more style than most. So, a 500 from the outside, but inside more generic Fiat, which is not a bad thing. You get a compact layout that's easy to use. There are 2 trim levels coming to South Africa, the Pop and the more expensive Lounge, which is what we have here. No matter which trim level the 500L is finished in, the interior has plenty of room and the kind of setup that's easy to get to grips with. Our test car featured Bluetooth, multifunction steering wheel and a USB connection, but there was one extra in particular I was looking forward to. The 500L is the first car in the world to have a working coffee machine fitted as an option. Tragically though, none of the test cars on our drive were fitted with one. There will be 2 engines on offer in South Africa, a 1.6 diesel and a 1.4 petrol, both with manual gearboxes. Our test car is the petrol with 70 kilowatts and 127 newton meters and a combined cycle fuel consumption figure of 6.2 litres per 100. Our Italian test drive took us through various driving conditions. We started in flat farmland, through small villages with cobbled streets and tight turns, and ended up on a twisty mountain road near the Alps. The 500L has a drive that is comfortable across all the kinds of conditions you're likely to encounter on a daily basis, and it's easy enough to handle despite its increased size, so things remain stress-free, even when driving on the wrong side, surrounded by Italians who see the rules of the road more as suggestions than things to adhere to. Fiat do use turbos, and they also have a thing called multi-air technology, both of which help boost power, and neither of which are in here. This 1400 is a willing enough engine, but you have to really keep the revs up to get the best out of it, and that means more noise and more work on the gear shift. A bit more instant power would do this car a lot of good. Its only downside as far as the drive goes is that it's not the most relaxed thing in the world, and you need to concentrate on your acceleration and gearing to keep things going along at a steady pace. By now we're used to car systems giving us information like average fuel consumption, but the 500L takes things to a whole new level of Big Brother. The EcoDrive system monitors your acceleration, your braking, your gear changes, and then suggests tips on how to drive better. You can then take all that data, put it onto a USB stick, and analyze it using its Fiat software, and then it'll give you lessons on how to drive more efficiently. Fiat reckon you can reduce fuel consumption and emissions by up to 16% by following that advice, although they don't say by how much your fun behind the wheel will also be reduced.